was for 4 ambulances, and indeed an amount of $205,106 was paid in advance to the supplier of the ambulances. This award was through a tender, and the tenderer at that time, it was when we were still, it was a 2010 tender, before we were migrated to the State Procurement Board regulations. We were still using the Municipal Procurement Board in terms of the Urban Councils Act. And indeed, the tenderer had put in his tender brief that an advance payment would need to be paid. Most suppliers at that time, I must add, were requiring advance payments because they did not have capital. It was paid, and the supplier kept on giving excuses about the delivery of the ambulances. It was a part payment, it was not the full amount. The full amount for that contract was 400 and something thousand for the 4 ambulances. We pursued the matter when we realized that the supplier stories were not giving us any fruition. They were not resulting in anything. We did pursue the contract in the civil court. We did get a judgment to the tune of $205,000, in our favor $106.88. And we started to try to execute on the judgment, to try and recover the actual money from this person. But we discovered that the offices that the supplier occupied in Harare were deserted. They were Harare suppliers. And we could not find them. We engaged through our external legal practitioners, tracers that are normally used in the High Court process to trace someone. In fact, what they are telling us is that this supplier has disappeared into thin air. We realized that we're not getting anywhere with tracers, and instead we thought we should just opt for the ZRP to investigate it. We are continuing, if we can find the supplier, to pursue the execution of our judgment. And then on the due diligence on that contract, I have said it was through a tender, and yes, an evaluation was done in 2010. And I think at that point, at the point of the adjudication, it was believed that it was a genuine supplier and they had capacity and it was going to work. Of course, with hindsight, you may think now maybe we missed some points, but I want to honestly say at that point, it wasn't apparent to us that they would default on this contract. And then on the tracking system one, we again awarded this contract and the supplier did ask for an advance payment, which was paid against a bank guarantee, and it was to the tune of 100,000 that we paid this supplier for the tracking system. Again, we faced the same problems that we faced with the ambulances, and the matter was subsequently referred to the legal section, and we pursued it again in the civil court, and we got judgment again. Again, this supplier has disappeared into thin air. And I have a report from the tracers that they gave to us. They were Harare tracers as well. So they were all Harare companies. Yes, they were all Harare companies. So these two, we really are at 6s and 7s about how to find them.
What's there for us to be able to justify this? Or are you saying because we can't find them, unfortunately, let's just say it didn't happen and we have written it off. Because there is no accountability without the supporting documents.
And that voucher, that payment voucher, must be supported by the invoice that we are talking about now. We are saying when the voucher came in, it did have the invoice. This is what we are saying. And we paid it. Then, in the process, we lost the originating document, the invoice. But the payment voucher that recorded the expenditure is still there. It's just that it has no supporting document.
So what the AG is saying is not true, because what the AG says to us is that they did not find any supporting documents for repairs. So you are contesting what the AG said. You are saying you had some supporting documents.
No, I'm not contesting what the AG said. What the AG is complaining about is that there is the payment voucher, all right, but it has no supporting document. That's the understanding I have.
That's not the understanding that we have. The understanding is that the AG did not find any supporting documents for repairs and maintenance and general expenses amounting to 151,000 and 179 respectively. That's what the AG said to us. What you are now giving us is a different position. You are saying you had some sort of supporting documents, but they were not sufficient.
Yes.
You are saying you had some supporting document, but they were not sufficient.
Exactly, because...
So you are contesting what the AG said.
No, I understand what the AG is saying. Because for a payment to be considered legitimate, it must have not only our own payment voucher, but it must have that supporting document, the invoice. The invoices are the ones that are missing. But the document that originated the payment within the system is there. The invoice that supports the payment voucher is the one that is missing.
I would want to believe that the process emanates from a report that the Auditor General will have observed on issues pertaining to governance, mismanagement, etc. And I would want to believe that it is a pointer to whatever is happening in a particular entity which are not correct. And the position of the council at the moment is that from what they have submitted is that you'd find that they don't have enough manpower from the evidence that they are giving in terms of having 3 other gaps of key people who are supposed to be either assisting the finance director and also in the Department of Accounts. You'd also find that the town clerk is on acting capacity and they are yet to appoint, and according to the information she says by October a substantive town clerk will have been appointed. But we then wait to see on whether if the new person is coming or the one who is acting is going to be confirmed on a substantive position for the work that she has done. Because the gaps that when you have certain individuals on a position and they leave, there's some kind of a vacuum. I think from the deliberations you heard for yourself that much of them remains to, you need the institutional memory of individuals who have been there from a particular period to a certain period. And the final one is that you find that the AG's concerns and issues are actually the issues that the Public Accounts Committee relies on in finding out what is going wrong in either ministries or state house, including local authorities. And I'm glad that the evidence that we have gotten will actually, when we deliberate, because we have not gone on to the deliberations on the oral evidence, so that we bring up a report as a Public Accounts Committee and table in Parliament, so that the recommendations will then tighten up the loopholes in terms of the IT system, in terms of documentation where one purchases and invoices are missing, and for years you cannot justify on whether the resources were actually used for the intended